Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to our online retreat, our dream career retreat, in which we are talking about how we can build our dream careers that will actually build our Jannah. So today is day 3, and going along our theme of cleaning our lens and looking at the best views, today's day is going to be climbing that mountain. Yesterday we looked at what was possible for people and what were the views they had in their lives, what height did they reach. And today we are going to see which height we can reach and how we can reach there, what mountain we can climb and how we can get there. So today's going to be all about you and how you can get there, inshallah, how you can build that dream career, that work life that will actually build your Jannah, inshallah. So let's go to get started in a minute. So I'll be sharing the screen. In the meanwhile, let's set our intentions. We're here for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want this to build our akhirah. And as we're doing this, we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala counts this as, us building our Jannah. So let's get started again. Bismillah. Okay. So I'm hoping the screen is clear and like you can see the screen now. Let's get started. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح رب زدني علما. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. Alright, Assalamu alaikum again, and let's get started, inshallah. So today, again, we're going to start with an exercise. Let's close our eyes again, okay? So yesterday, for the first day, we cleared our lens and we got a better perspective of what it means to have a work life that is a part of your deen and how our deen and dunya are together and they're not separate. And then day 2, we looked at the lives of people whose deen and dunya were not separate and how they utilize their time, their efforts, their talents, and how they utilize their work in order to build their akhirah for themselves. So today we're going to look at how we can do the same for ourselves, how we can achieve those heights, inshallah. So let's start again with the interactive exercise. Let's have some kind of an activity and action. So let's close our eyes again. Let's close our eyes, and this time we are going to try to imagine. Yesterday we tried to imagine the feelings, what we would feel, right? And how that would feel, how it would look like in order to have like that deen dunya balance in your life. Not really a balance, but like your deen is your dunya, but your dunya is your deen. And when you finish your work, you feel very accomplished. We wanted to feel satisfied. We wanted to feel content. And that's what we wanted to do today. We did yesterday, right? We went through the feelings of it. Now, today, I want you to think of things that you actually do that would bring you that contentment, that would give you that happiness. What are the things that, when you do them in your work life, you feel very content and happy by the end of it? What are the things that come to your mind? Let's take a moment to think about that. What are the things that you think when you do them, you will feel happy and you will feel content? What are those things? These might be hard to think about because we don't really think about our work as a source of fulfillment. Sometimes, yes, we do want to look for something that's more purposeful, but if we don't connect that back to our deen and we're not looking for that kind of fulfillment from our work. So that is a little difficult. And inshallah, today, when we go through all of these exercises, we will look at how our work, we can brainstorm together on things that when you do them, you will feel fulfilled in your life, inshallah. So let's get started with the first step. So the number one thing that we want to do in order to, build our dream career is actually locating ourselves. Because, when we don't know where we are in life, we cannot get anywhere. Because it's very important that we understand where we are. Because, if for example, if you want to go somewhere, you take your phone, you type in the location of wherever you want to go. And, what happens is when you search that location, the map will show you, okay, this is the place that is there and this is where you want to go. And the map won't show you, the GPS won't show you the directions to get there. You have to put in your location to get the directions to get there. And you might think like, okay, my friend went there. I'll just follow her directions, how she went there. And then I will reach there as well. No, that's not how it works, because your friend is coming from a different location and you are coming in from a different location. Your starting points are different. Similarly, there might be goals in our lives that we want to achieve, and we might look at them and say, I want to do this, and I see this other person who did these things and she was very successful. So I think if I do the exact same thing that she did, I will achieve that success. I will achieve that goal. But no, you have to understand that everybody's different and everybody's location is different. So while your, friend might have found found the mall by going, like, taking a few lefts, you might not find it. She will say you, it's right there in front of you. I took a few left and I saw the mall. You might say like, well, I took a couple of lefts. I'm not seeing the mall. That's because you're coming from a different place. You will not find the mall if you turn left because you're coming from the other side of the city. So what we need to understand is where we are in life. We need to take a better look at where we are and understand our situation so that we have our own personalized path to get to our goals. And when we have that personalized plan, that personalized, path, that GPS for ourselves, then it's a lot easier for us to reach there. Yes, there might be traffic somewhere, which might make us, make us, get there more difficult. But that's fine because we are following the directions according to our location. So that's what we are going to do, today. So the first thing that we want to look at to understand our situation, our location in life, is to understand what our beliefs were and where we stand. So we want to think about what our success is, what is success in our minds. We want to think about what our achievements are. So let's begin with that. So the first thing is, think about what your achievements are in life. What do you think have you done? You don't have to think about big things in life. You can think about very small things as well. And you can think about, the education maybe you had, maybe, some skills that you learned. You can think about the experiences you had, and you'll think also about the lessons that life taught you. Because when we learn, when we work in different environments and we go through different experiences, we learn a lot of lessons, and those lessons are kind of an accomplishment. And it doesn't have to be that you went through that yourself, that you learned that. You actually can have an accomplishment or an achievement of realizing what a specific thing is by studying somebody, or like reading a book, or understanding it and learning it from other people's lives. So those are some achievements that we have. So now this session today, if you don't think about the questions that I'm giving you, it will not give you any value at all, and you will be where you are right now. It will not help you move forward. So I want you to have your journal with you. I want you to have your paper with you, your pen with you. And as we are going through all of these things, I want you to write these questions, use these prompts and write and journal in your journal as well, okay? So the first question I have for you is, write down any achievements you have, any and all. And don't think of any achievement as a small achievement. Anything that is as big as, well, I don't have an example, but like any big achievement you have, write that down. Think about your education, think about your skills, think about your experiences, think about your milestones that you have reached, and write those down, all right? So I'm hoping you're writing them down as I'm speaking here. Let's start with the first one. Maybe start with what you studied in college. What major did you study, or what you are studying, and maybe what are the skills you have? Write those down. Your skills. What are some lessons that you have learned in your life? So when you're writing these achievements, we are writing these achievements because of a few reasons. One of them being that when you look at what you have already achieved in life, it gives you a foundation that you can build upon. It gives you that sense of accomplishment and a sense of, I did a few things and I can do better. It will give you that courage and motivation to move forward. So write down every small thing that you have accomplished, that you have achieved, and we can inshallah build on top of that. We will be aware of where we are in life and what we have accomplished so far. So I'm hoping we are done now with writing down our accomplishments. You can continue to write them as we go forward. So we are writing our achievements again. For those of you who are just joining, we are writing our achievements. We are going to write down any small and big achievement that we have in life so that we know we have a solid foundation that we can build upon. So we went through our accomplishments in terms of our education, in terms of our skills, in terms of our life experiences, maybe the lessons that life taught us. And now that we are done with that, I want you to think about what are some of your strengths and weaknesses. Maybe think about the top 3 strengths you have. These could be strengths like your communication skills, soft skills, communication skills, leadership skills. Maybe you're good at negotiating. Maybe you're good at writing. Maybe you're good at, some kind of a creative thing like crochet, maybe, or maybe art. Write down everything. What are your strengths? What are your strengths? Maybe you're focused, maybe you're optimistic. These are your strengths, Write down what are your strengths. Write down your top 3 strengths. And again, I want you to write down these strengths, and if you don't do these exercises, this session will not be very helpful, because this session is all about climbing that mountain for yourself, and that is very important. And if we don't follow these exercises, it won't be beneficial. You will be where you were when the session began. So we went through our strengths. Now I want you to think about your weaknesses. And actually, if any one of you will actually want to share with us, maybe anybody who wants to volunteer and think out loud, so that other people can get inspiration too, inshallah, and you will get the reward for that. Anybody? You can just unmute yourself or raise your hand up. Do we have a volunteer? You guys are afraid of the recording. Yeah, okay, go ahead and share it in the chat. Share with me in the chat. What are some of your strengths and weaknesses? What is the starting point, inshallah? Time management. Well, that's a good one. Nobody's gonna know which person, which Amina, which Fatima, which person was this on the video. So you don't have to be worried about it at all. All right. So we went through our weaknesses. We want to think about our weaknesses, not because we want to criticize ourselves and make ourselves feel bad about what we cannot do, but we are only doing this to be aware of what we can do and what we're not good at. So when we are inshallah picking what we want to do in our life and what kind of a career we want, we can look at our strengths and weaknesses and pick accordingly. And if there's something that we are weak at, then maybe we will know that, okay, maybe I might need to work on this, or if not, I could just get this done, or like I'll get some help in this area. I might not have to do that myself. So those were 2 questions to try and locate ourselves, where we are in life. So let's move on to the next thing. So now that we have that a little bit of understanding of where we are, now bear in mind there's a lot more we can do to locate ourselves in our lives and try to understand who we are, where we are, and what place we are at. But because this is a 1 hour session, there's only so much we can do in this session because we do want to build that dream career, inshallah. So we want to go through the main and important things so that we have that by the end of the session, or like we get an idea of what we want to have. So now we'll move on to, our principles and priorities. And now, what happens is when we work in a specific field for a long time, we start to feel that we are not happy with that job, or we are not happy or not fulfilled with that. We just feel like we are stuck and trapped, and it feels like everybody's running and we are also stuck in that same rat race. And sometimes that's because our values, our principles don't align with the work that we do. That's when we feel unfulfilled. And when we are picking a job and when we are picking a career, when we are in university, we don't often think about these things. And that's why we end up in unfulfilled careers and unfulfilled jobs. And that is the reason why when we are thinking about our dream career, we want to think about these things. So the number one thing I want you to think about is what are your values? What are your principles? When you think about an ideal job, an ideal work life, what comes to your mind? Does it, has something to do with being flexible? Maybe in terms of its times, or maybe in terms of its location? Does it have something to do with the number of hours that you're working? Does it have something to do with, your deen and how much you can practice in there? Does it have something to do with your passion? Do you feel like I don't want to work in this because I am not passionate about it? It just feels like I'm, spending some time in place like I'm not even good at. I feel miserable in here just to try and earn money. And do you feel like I am here, I'm working, but I could be doing so much better. I could have been doing a kind of work that would impact other people. So these are some things and concerns that, we have surrounding our work, and it directly translates into our values. If you feel like you don't belong there because that place is, it doesn't have a good work environment, that when you want to work in a good Islamic environment, for example. So those are some examples I have for you. Some people have values like, I don't want to work for other people. Like, those business people, the entrepreneurs, they have that kind of a value. Sometimes people have a value that I don't want to work for a cause that I don't believe in. So I'm just giving you some examples to brainstorm. Everybody has different kinds of values. So go ahead and think about that. And if you have some, do share that with me in the chat. So I know I'm not speaking to a camera, I'm speaking to people. Yeah. So what are your values? What is something that's very important to you and you don't want to compromise on? It could be like initially when you're starting off, you may not have the luxury to have all of these values in your current position, in your current career, but maybe what is the ideal version of it that you want to work towards, so that inshallah you have that goal and you have that vision, and all that is required is for you to take consistent action to get there, inshallah. We are thinking about our dream career, guys. So don't set your standards low. Have a high standard. We are the people who dream big. We talked about Mr. Normal and Mr. Outstanding yesterday. We are not people who settle for average. We are the Prophet Sallallahu Ummah, and we aim for high things. So go ahead and set your standards, very high, and because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has everything, He can give us whatever we want. So what are some things you guys are sharing here? To pick and choose. I'm not sure what you mean by that. No mixing environment, not too many work hours, would rather start my own organization. I see what you mean. So that's an example of that. And the next thing I want you to think about is, let's move on to the next thing. Okay, I want you to think about the values. I'm hoping you have noted a few in your journal already, but inshallah, these things take time and we need to think more about it. So do spend some time on it afterwards. Now, for the next thing is think about what your priorities in life are. Sometimes what happens is yes, we might be working in our dream job. You know, it might fulfill and tick all of the boxes that we have. It has less hours, we're working for ourselves, we have like a good profit, and maybe we are not even we don't have to worry about the environment not being very un-Islamic, because inshallah everything is fine. But what happens is you feel like, you know, I'm doing so well here, but I feel like I am lagging behind in other areas of my life, and you end up feeling unfulfilled. So the reason for that sometimes is because we don't have our priorities straight. We don't know what is more important to us in our lives. You know, our family, our relationship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, our health. These are things sometimes that we neglect in terms of when we are working on our careers, when we are working on our professional lives. So these are things you want to think about. Now, think about what is the most important thing to you in this life. Now, this things that you can consider under these are your relationship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your self-care, your health, your mental, physical, emotional health, and your, you know, a family. And it could include many people, it could include your children, it could include your husband, it could include your parents, it could include your siblings and your relatives, inshallah. So all of those people, they come under family. And then the next category would be, you know, your education and your self-development and how you're growing every day, because we don't want to be at the place that we are right now. We want to be at a place that, inshallah, when we look back, we see like, oh, I've grown so much. I was there, you know, I was back then, I was doing good, but now, alhamdulillah, I'm up here. This is a different level. So that's where we want to be. So our self-development and growth, that counts in, and we want to look at our Islamic knowledge and education, and it kind of comes into our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But also I think that we want to think about our contribution and our work. And these are the things that we want to list in our priorities. Now, what is the number one thing that should be on the top of list? Now, what is the thing that's on top of your list? From the things that we mentioned, what is the number one thing that is on your list? Now I can do an easy guess. It would be it would be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obviously, our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But sometimes we might get this order wrong from the second position. Now I want you to think about the second one. What is the second priority on your list? It's always interesting to see the second priority of people. So let me know, what is your second priority? What is it? Is it your work? Is it your family? Is it your health? Is it your self-development and growth? Is it your work? What is it? Waiting for your answers. Overall well-being is the second one. Okay. Anybody else? Self-growth and development. Okay. What else? Which includes health. Okay. So you're including health in that. Self-development in terms of personality, and then family because of responsibility. I see. So now sometimes we have these situations and we don't really think through. Okay, alhamdulillah. But we have, you know, Islam is so beautiful that we have literally every single thing in our life, everything that we need in order to be successful, in order to live a happy and content life. The Prophet ﷺ already gave us everything, everything. So we have a hadith, okay? So what happens is we have a story of, you know, Abu Darda and Salman radiallahu anhu. There were two brothers that Prophet ﷺ made. From one was from Muhajirun and one was from Ansar. So these two brothers, they used to live in the same house, and at that time there was no hijab, so the ayah of hijab wasn't revealed yet. So what happened was one day Salman saw that the wife of Abu Darda, she was, you know, not really taking care of herself. She was, you know, not really paying attention to how she dressed. You know, she was like a kind of like depressed, if you want to say, okay? So she didn't really make sure that she was, you know, she didn't, how do I word this? She wasn't very fond of, you know, making sure that she looks nice all the time. So what happens is he asks her, what happened? Like, why do you not dress up? You know, why do you feel like you are sad or like something's off? And she says, well, you know, your brother Abu Darda, he's not really interested in this dunya. He just cares about his hereafter, and he's always in his worship. So Salman said, okay, let me talk to him. So what he does is, you know, when it's time for lunch, Salman invites him to sit with him and have lunch. And when he comes, you know, he says, well, I am fasting, so you go ahead and eat. And he refuses to eat. But Salman says, well, I'm not going to eat until you eat with me. So he kind of forces him to break his fast, which was a nafil, which was a voluntary fast. So he sat down with him and he had that lunch. And then when it was nighttime, you know, Abu Darda, he got up and he was like, okay, I'm going to pray. And he was like, no, 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 you're not going to pray right now. You are going to pray afterwards. Let's go back to sleep. So Salman puts Abu Darda to sleep. And then when 1/3 of the night passes, Abu Darda gets up and he's like, I'm going to go pray now. And he's like, nope, not yet. Go back to your sleep. And when 2/3 of the night pass by, that's when Salman wakes up Abu Darda and he says, now you wake up. Now let's go and pray. When they finish praying, Salman says to Abu Darda that, you know what? Today I stop you from doing so many things, but I want you to know this. He said, Inna li rabbika alayka haqq. Your Lord has a right upon you. Your Rabb has a right upon you. Wali nafsika alayka haqq. And yourself has a right upon you. And wali ahlika alayka haqq. And your family has a right upon you. So he lists 3 things. And these 3 things are supposed to be the 3 priorities of the Muslim. These should be the top 3. So what did he say? Number 1, Inna li rabbika alayka haqq. That your number 1 priority in life should be your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the fact that you are going to care about your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should not affect the other rights, because yourself has a right upon you. You need to give yourself a break. You need to make sure that your health is okay. And then the next is your family has a right upon you. You can't just, you know, go on worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without having some time to spend with them. So you need to take out time for your family. So what happens is Abu Darda, he goes to the Prophet ﷺ and he says, this is what Salman told me. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Sadaqa Salman, that Salman has spoken the truth. So for us now, sometimes we lose this focus of our priorities in life. And that is when we end up feeling unfulfilled, even if we have the best thing or like the things that we want to work on, but we still feel unsatisfied and unfulfilled. So that's how, inshallah, we can look at how we can realign this back into our life. So when we are thinking about our careers and our jobs, you know, we want to think of, where does this belong on the list? It surely doesn't belong before these 3, because the Prophet ﷺ gave this to us, and this should be our number 1 priority. And one of the things that's so amazing about this hadith is that he mentioned the self, you know, ourselves, the right of ourself upon us, are number 2 before our family, because we need to take care of ourselves to be present for other people. If we don't, we will burn out. And you know, as they say, you know, a cup that is empty cannot pour into other people, into the other cup. So you need to be full yourself. You need to take care of yourself. So number 1, we need to make sure that whatever career we have, we're not neglecting our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the process. Number 2, we need to make sure that we are not overdoing and overburdening ourselves and overworking ourselves, and we burn out, and you know, we don't take care of our health. Because when we do that, then we will not be happy in our jobs, no matter how high paying that is, no matter how fulfilling it might feel to help other people. And at the end of the day, if you're hurting yourself, you will not be happy. And the next thing is that you want to make sure that you have time for your family. And this is one of the biggest things that we regret about, you know, in life. You know, we feel like we're so dedicated to our careers that we sometimes neglect our families, especially as Muslim women. So we want to make sure that while we are working and while we are building our legacy and while we are using our work to build our akhirah, we are not neglecting these 3 things in our lives. So that's the 3rd thing that I want you to think about. And then after these 3 things, then I want you to go ahead and complete that list of thinking about, where does your personal development belong? Where does your work belong there? Where does your knowledge belong there? Because everybody needs to grow. We cannot stay at the same place, because, you know, every day we need to improve somehow. If we don't improve, then it's like we're not living at all. So we have other priorities after that. And inshallah, that they can come and they can vary and they can change. according to our own preferences and our own likings and our own life situation. We just need to make sure that the top three are there so that inshallah we feel more fulfilled and more happy in our lives. And we feel like we are living that dream life, not just in the illusion, the delusion that we are living a happy life. And now I want to pause here. We've just done a little foundation work of going and choosing our dream career, right? But I want to pause here because I have an announcement. I have an announcement that inshallah, I hope you will like it. So I did mention this yesterday, right? That the book is going to be live soon, but the book is now live and you can go and get your book from my website, inshallah. Let me quickly share the screen with you and show you. SubhanAllah. And I have a few surprises. I have a few bonuses for the first few people who buy the book. So let's see. Where do we have this? Okay, so can you see my screen? All right. So Beyond Income. So this is the book Beyond Income, Finding Purpose and Jannah Through Your Works. That's what we were talking about the entire retreat, and that this retreat in fact is like a crash course of what's in the book. The book is more detailed, inshallah. So your job can be your ticket to Jannah. So in the book we discover how to turn our work into an act of worship that creates our Jannah for us and creates a lasting legacy that benefits our akhirah. So why should you get a book? Understand by getting a book, you will understand Islam's take on work and career, which we have done a little bit about in this retreat, and then clarity on how to pursue your dreams without compromising on your faith. Sometimes you feel like being ambitious is chasing dunya when it's not the case. And then a step-by-step guide to using your career as a tool to build your akhirah. So it's a complete guide of starting from the foundations to how you can achieve it all the way, making a plan for yourself and a very detailed plan. So tools to bring ihsan into all aspects of your life, work, worship, ibadah, and personal growth. And real life examples and practical tips for thriving in your career while honoring your Islamic values. So you can go and get your book, your copy on Amazon, and we have another international editions at the end. And so I want you to know that this is not just any other self-help book. This is your very action-oriented guide to build a career that you love. So this is not going to be, a very, these are things that you should do. These are some examples. Now that the book is not going to be like this. Yes, you'll have that aspect of it, but it's very action-oriented. It will have prompts for you to go and write for yourself, to go and ponder and think so that you have a plan for yourself. You will gain clarity on your goals, discover your why, and create actionable steps for yourself for your long-term success, both in this world and the next. So here we have a few reviews. So Alina here says, if you're looking for your next read to elevate your life, aligning it to your purpose as a Muslim, then I'd highly suggest to keep an eye out for the book. Now, but the book is out now. So your book is very helpful. It provides many insights and requires time to reflect deeply. I love the prompt questions that you used. So inshallah, you can, benefit from the book, and this is how exactly you will benefit from it. The book will teach you to discover who you are, understand who you are, where you are in your life. We did a little sneak peek of that today. And then, and you will understand how you can unlock your potential, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed in you, the gifts that you have, and how you can use that to build your akhirah, and how you can use that to bring joy in the work that you do. Not only will your work pay your bills, but it will also give you purpose and fulfillment and build your Jannah for you. So that was the number third thing. And then the fourth thing we have is you will learn how to get your life together from just having your ambitious goals to putting them into action and how you can bring them into life. So because sometimes we just wish we have goals and then we don't plan. And because of that, we just end up in the state of like, oh man, I wish I did something. And it just ends up being a wish and we never really take an action on that. So this is going to be about you setting your goals, but also creating a very actionable plan to work on that. And the fifth thing is that you will learn how to leave a positive legacy for yourself that would actually build your akhirah. Not for other people to remember you. Yes, you might get that as a side bonus, maybe, but the primary reason why you're doing this is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to build your Jannah with it. We have some more reviews here. So inshallah, I'll post a link for you in the comment box and you can go and get that. Now, for the bonuses that I mentioned, the first 500 readings, inshallah, I have a few offers for them. For the first 5 readers, you will get one-on-one mentorship and the Beyond Income Journal. And the second 50 people would get group mentoring in the masterclass and a Beyond Income Journal. And the first 500 readers would get a Beyond Income Journal. And you need to claim these gifts. You need to verify that here. So visit the website and claim the gift when you do purchase. And then we have a few more book reviews, inshallah. And if you're not sure if this book is good for you, then you can get 5 chapters here for free and decide after that if you would want to purchase the book. So what's the journal about? The journal is going to have like a summary and takeaways, key takeaways from the book, and have proper space for you and more detailed prompt questions for you to think about all the things that we talk about in the book. So it's not exactly like quotes. It's like, you have the takeaways from the chapters that we have on mindset and, learning from different people. And then we also have very detailed questions and prompts for you to go ahead and think about what you want to do and how you want to plan. So that's what the journal is about. So yeah, so if you not sure if you want to buy the book, then here you can get your free 5 chapters for you to read and then decide if you want to buy the book or not. And yeah, so inshallah, I'll share the link with you and you can go through the website on your own pace, inshallah. And here we have links for the different international versions. Now let's get back to where we were. Let's get back. Do share the book with other people as well. If you benefited and you know other people who would benefit from it, then go ahead and share the book with them and also share with them the bonuses and what gifts that they can claim. So now that we've gone through our, principles and our priorities, I want you to think about what are the things that you are passionate about? What are the things that, you like doing? Because we spend like almost like 13 years of our life at work and we don't want to be miserable there. We want to be, very um we don't want to live that kind of miserable life. We want to be happy there. Even if we are like sometimes stressed, we don't want to have like a very bad kind of stress where we are like dreading every moment that we spend there. So think about the things that you are passionate about and what do you actually want to do. So yes, we have some in the comment section here: writing, drawing, illustrating, teaching. Very nice, alhamdulillah. Think about everybody's going to have different kinds of passion, and there's always going to be some way that we can incorporate that and make that into our source of income and make that into a profitable, career, which will also benefit other people and build our akhirah. There's always a way. There's nobody who can say like, oh, it's not possible. Like, even if you don't have any kind of interest in the world, but you're like, maybe you're good with kids, you can maybe run like a Muslim daycare facility. You will get good money, but you will also be providing a good Islamic environment for the kids, and you will be serving the moms who are busy, and you have something to offer, right? So everybody has something to offer. If there's something that you like, there's a strength you have, you can use that to convert that into your Jannah building thing. So go back and see maybe to your strengths and your achievements. Is there something that would maybe fit here? Or even if you don't have something in your accomplishments and maybe you're passionate about something, you want to learn something, then go ahead and think about what you're passionate about and how you can use that to build your Jannah. So, whatever the thing it is that you are good at, see how you can, take that and convert that and make that into a service that you can offer. So not only are you doing you're not only are you giving some kind of service and helping other people, but also bringing in your cash and building your career, inshallah. So that's the number one thing. All right, so that's what I want you to think about. So now, because we're running out of time, I'll quickly move on to the next one, because these things require a lot of thinking, and I want you to note down these prompts and think for yourself, because we don't have enough time to reflect and stop and do all of that in the session here. And so the next thing we can do, we should do after we have some kind of an idea of what we want to do, we are passionate about, and how we can use that to help other people and build our legacy and our Jannah, is to think about, what is my life strategy? Okay, I want to do these things. This is what I want to do with my life. You don't want to think about very short term. Think about a very long-term plan, a very long-term plan. Every single thing that you want to do in your entire life, write that down. Okay? That is your life strategy. And what we have done so far, thinking about our priorities, our values, all of those things also fall under this life strategy. But we want to make it more structured, so that you have a better idea of what you want to do with your life. And when you have that ready, then it's time to go ahead and break that down and make that into your 10-year plan, into your 5-year plan, into your 3-year plan, or into your plan for the next year. So when you have that decided, go ahead and make a plan for yourself for the next year. So now we have done like a reverse engineering. So we're not just setting random goals. We are doing a we have an idea of what we want to do overall in our life, and then we have an idea of, okay, if we want to do that, this is what I need to achieve in the next 5 years. If I want to do that, then this is what I need to do in the next year. And then break that down again to your monthly goals and your everyday goals. And one thing about goals is that you should make your goals very high. Like, aim very high when you're aiming, when you're setting goals. But when you make a plan for yourself to achieve those goals, make those goals very, very, very actionable, very realistic. Put in buffers for your time. Maybe if you are not able to achieve those goals, have some time to catch up on them. That is very important. If you don't have a very realistic plan, if you have an idealistic plan, if you have the dream version of your plan, your things are never going to happen. Your dreams and your aims, your goals in life should be very high. They should touch the sky, or like go beyond even. We want to go to Jannah, so beyond the sky. So, but when you make a plan, make it very realistic. Don't be very, idealistic in your plans, or very ambitious in your everyday plans. Make them very realistic. And that's a very important thing that we sometimes overlook. When we're making a plan, we think about the ideal version of life, but that's not how life works. There's going to be some days where like something comes in and you cannot pay attention to your work, and you need to stop working, or you need to do different things. Yes, taking small steps at a time. Consistency is the key. So that's what we will end with today. Let's go to our takeaways for today. So the number one thing, oops, the wrong slide. So our takeaways for today is that, inshallah, we're going to work on the prompts that we discussed today. We learned today that our priorities are what is very important in our lives. We need to look at our values if we want to be fulfilled. And when we don't think about these things, that's when we feel unfulfilled, and we don't know what to do. We are very confused in our lives. So that's the first thing we want to do. And also we want to pay attention to where we are, so that we know where we are, and then we know where to get to. If a person who never goes to the gym, and he decides to go to the gym every single day, never been to the gym before. Am I muted? Can you not hear me? You can hear me, right? Okay. So if a person who has never been to the gym, subhanallah, I was going to say gym. If a person who never goes to the gym, he goes to the gym and he decides, I'm going to go to the gym every single day. What will happen to him? Within like 2 days, he will feel burnt out. He doesn't know, he will feel very sore and decide like, oh man, this is not for me. And then he will quit. That's not the way to approach it. If you want to do something, take small actions at a time. Maybe you can start with one one day at the gym, and then maybe you can improve to, upgrade to 2 days at the gym, and then 3 days, and then maybe you can go to the gym every day. So that's very important, creating very realistic and consistent goals. So that brings us to the end of our session today. So if you have any questions, then go ahead and type that in the chat box. I hope that you didn't miss a lot. That brings us to the end of today's session. So this was like a crash course of me trying to help you make your dream career and very important things that you want to think about when you are working on your career. So, which video do you want to share? Not sure. Um, uh, Okay, so listen. So that brings us to the end of today's session. And if you have any questions, then go ahead and share that with me in the box, in the chat box, and share your takeaways and what did you learn? So what was your biggest takeaway? What was something that you never thought about while planning? What stood out to you today? And you can actually go ahead and share anything from the retreat as well that was huge for you, because today's the last day of the retreat. So go ahead and share that with me. Inshallah, the replay for this will also be uploaded soon, inshallah, just like the replays for the 2 days before. So I'm assuming you guys are typing. Hope you I think you guys should take typing lessons, like seriously. Okay. So my problem is that I have ambitions, but I want to like skip steps. What do you mean skip steps? Do you just want to go from your dreams to living the dream version of your life? Life doesn't work that way. You need to have a proper plan. The Prophet ﷺ was a person who planned well as well. He was very, he had the tawakkul on subhanahu wa ta'ala that everything would turn out good, but he planned very well as well. When you look at his hijrah, for example, yes, he planned it very well. He had people who would bring him news in the day. He had people who would bring him food, and then there were people who would cover their traces for him. And he had a guide, and he went the other direction when he was going. So there's like a lot of examples in the life of the Prophet ﷺ. We need to plan, we need to take action. And even with dua, when you make dua, you need to take action. So, mm-hmm. I see. So, anyways, let's end the session here, inshallah. So, if you have any questions, then you can always reach out to me on Instagram, or you can reach out to me from the website. The book is out and you don't want to miss that out, inshallah. You can go and get the book. It is live, it is available on Amazon right now. So, go ahead and get that, and don't forget to claim your free bonus. Your takeaway is, I takeaway is that my takeaway is that not really reflecting on these things when I was young and not being much of a planner has backfired on me. So I need to take some time to do so. I feel more grounded in my choices for career. Jazakallah khair for these meetings. Alhamdulillah. I feel very good about that. Alhamdulillah. I may be good at planning in big long-term chunks, like you can map out the whole year, but the daily details might be more of a challenge. Yeah, I understand. That's because we become very idealistic. That's what we were talking about just now. Because I'm the worst at time management. Yeah, we know, we did the strengths and weaknesses today, and it's very good to know what our weaknesses are so that we can work on them, or maybe get some help in that domain. Anyways, all right. So we will end for today. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته